everyone, my name is Zorric Sia, and I'm here with a friend of mine. Her name is Emma Pineda, and we're here to talk about dating apps, dating, and everything that has to do with dating. So I'm in tech. I've been doing it for a while. I've been developing for a while, and I've actually been dating, and it's really been interesting trying the different apps and just talking to different people about their experiences. So Emma, so what do you do?
Okay, so I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist,
Okay.
but I mostly work with families,
Gotcha.
so I don't focus on the marriage anymore.
You shouldn't say I don't focus on the marriage, right?
I don't focus on couples work at the moment.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Well, that's okay. That's okay. Mm-hmm. But I'm sure that there's a lot of things, a lot of lessons learned you can get from these couples and what
for
not
sure.
to do. Because I think a lot of things can translate from the marriage to dating and vice versa. So yeah, I think you probably get a lot of information. A lot of good information.
I do, and I am a person that whenever I'm doing my job, I'm very systemic, and so I'm viewing for patterns of interaction, and I'm trying to look for those.
What does that even mean?
Patterns of interaction. So a pattern of interaction can be anything considered verbal or nonverbal. So it can be maybe you and I are hanging out and we're cooking something, and our nonverbal communication can be you're sautéing something, I'm noticing you're sautéing something, and I'm kind of already handing you something that's going to help you with that. So that's how we communicate with each other in that moment without saying anything. So that would be more of the nonverbals, but it also it just depends on the person. And then you have more of the verbal communication, which is maybe I say, "Hey Zorric, can you take out the trash?" And I mean to say I need you to take out the trash right now because it stinks, and I don't convey that message. So I just say, "Hey, Zorric, can you take out the trash?" And you hear, "I need to take out the trash," and maybe you're viewing a TV show, and so you're thinking, "Yeah, I'm going to take out the trash and when I'm done with watching my TV show." And so I'm implying something, but I'm not actually communicating it, and you're interpreting it a certain way, and then there's kind of that lack of the message. So something is missing. And so that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the things that are working well, nonverbal and verbal, and the things that are not working well to get them to where either the family, the kid, the parents want them to work the way that they envision.
Yeah, interesting because it's all about the delivering the message, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because it also has to do with tone and
oh yeah,
maybe,
for sure.
Choosing your words correctly. But yeah, that's interesting. So here we are. I think we've both been on dating apps, right?
Yes.
Yes. Unfortunately, but fortunately. And so today we want to talk about Tinder, and there's this new feature in Tinder called the Feed, and I think it just came out about a week ago. And what happens is that when you go into your messages area, you see a feed tab. And the feed tab basically shows what your matches are doing. For example, it shows when your match changes their picture. So it's very interesting. Or I think it also shows whenever someone updates their profile or anything like that. So what I think they're trying to do is trying to get more people on the app for a longer period of time. Because if you think about it, it reminds you of Instagram or Facebook or something. So I mean, what do you think about that?
I think so for me personally, I think it's creepy for someone to kind of know what I'm updating when I'm updating it. I already don't like that feature on Facebook.
A lot of people don't like Facebook in
right
general.
and anymore, but we keep it for whatever reason, and so I just think that's another way of just it's not something that's going to drive me to pick Tinder, this new feature. I'm going to be more turned off by it because I just don't want someone matching with me and then always knowing what I'm doing or what I'm up to, because I think that just, I don't know, it kind of is stalkerish to me.
Yeah, because think about it. If I'm dating somebody and I've gone on a couple dates and I go on Tinder and I see them updating their profile. But I
Yeah.
thought that we were exclusive, right? Because you know the whole like
Exactly.
what are we thing.
Yeah.
So you're always wondering if is she dating somebody else or is she just dating me?
Yeah.
And then on the flip side, if a man is dating a ton of people, I mean they can definitely get caught. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not. I mean it's a good feature to keep people on the app. I know from a business perspective, I know what they're trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I guess we'll see. Yeah.
I also think I'm just more an old lady at heart. I'm
Yeah.
it took me forever to admit that I needed to start using apps, and then I'm the person that will use them for maybe like a month or two and then get frustrated and I'm done. I'm not getting on apps anymore.
Yeah.
And then like a few months go by and then I'm like, okay, I need to get on an app because it's because of the way that our culture is set up. It's really difficult to do the more in person, you know, kind of like meet cues. Because we just naturally just are connected to our phones now.
Yeah. It's I think you're describing me too. Like it's very it's very cyclical. So
Yeah.
I'll go on the apps and I'll date and then I'll like stop and get busy with work or side projects and then I'll get back on. So, I agree. Hey guys, I just want to talk about an app called Bopsy. It's spelled BOPSEE.com and it's available in the iOS and Android store. And Bopsy allows you to meet up to 6 people in one session. It's video speed dating. It's fantastic. And all you have to do is you sign up through Facebook and then you edit your settings, your own information, and then your preferences, which are what you're looking for in a mate. And you sign up for a session. So if you're free tonight at 8 p.m., you sign up for that. And before the session, you jump in the waiting room. There'll be a link that says join here inside the app. And when 8 o'clock rolls around, you meet your 6 people. And each session or each date is about 8 minutes. And if you like them, you click on C. If you don't, you click on Bop. And there it is. It's Bopsy. It's different. It's video. It's different than everything else. So try it out. Bopsy, BOPSEE.com. So I stumbled on this site called DMR, and it's called 48 Impressive Tinder Stats, and it says here it was last checked in January 2018.
Okay.
It's pretty interesting. One of the 2 facts I read, the first one is the most common occupation for right-swiped male Tinder users was a pilot. First of all, do you think a pilot is sexy?
No.
No.
But however, like I feel that that's like a default that guys use because
No, you have to go down to the P's and select pilot.
I know, but whenever I'm on Tinder or Bumble or whatever app I'm using in the craze that I'm using, it like pilot is a profession that I see a lot. And so like I've thought about this before. I've spoken to my friends about it, and like our theory, hypothesis, whatever you want to call it, is that we feel that guys just pick it because it makes them look like they travel the world, or like more, I don't know, like it just makes them more attractive somehow. Because I'm like, really, like if I'm swiping like 20 guys and 15 of them are claiming that they're pilots, like are these 15 actual pilots, or are they just choosing this?
Well, they could be like a pilot of a bus, or I mean, you're assuming that there's only one type of pilot, right? I mean, I'm sure there's
right. And when I think pilot, I'm gonna assume airplanes, like because that's the
obviously.
Connection.
Yeah.
I don't know. I see it a lot though, so part of me is very hesitant to believe that men are pilots on these apps.
Yeah, and I also wonder like how many pilots are on these apps. If you're saying that,
Yeah.
So first of all, they hit. So they're the most swiped right occupation.
And I think it's because that's the most common profession that you see for women, or like for men whenever women are swiping is that. And I'm speaking in hetero because I, you know, like am hetero. I mean, so like I only know like that kind. Like I'm only an expert in this relationship. Like I can't speak for gay or lesbian.
Yeah, I probably should change my occupation to pilot.
You might, you know, get more hits. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I see it like being very common when I'm swiping for guys. Like,
Are you talking about Tinder or Bumble or
like any of the apps? I see pilot a lot, and so like this is why I've had that conversation with friends where it's like, are they actually pilots? Or are they just saying this? Like, what's going on?
Yeah. You know, do you know any pilots? I don't know any pilots.
I used to know pilots.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is that we have like a few pilot schools in the area. So part of me, like at the beginning, thought maybe this is possible.
Yeah.
But I mean, it could be a possibility. Like they could be real. They could they could actually be pilots. But like such a large percentage.
Mm-hmm. So I think lesson learned here is if you want to get a lot of right swipes, kids who are looking for a career, you can probably choose pilot and will be just fine. And
become a pilot.
Yeah, and I also think that women want leaders, and a pilot is sort of a leader. You know, he's important. He leads a crew. You know, it's the whole hunter gatherer thing. You know, right? I mean, if I am looking at a profession like. If I were to create a list just now, like pilot would not be on that list for me. What would your list? What would your number one thing be?
So, gosh, very typical of me, but like doctor, lawyer.
I knew it.
Right?
Okay. Easy. Okay.
Also engineer.
Mm-hmm.
I might even like have a psychologist.
Yeah. But if it's
and I think like anything that's like sort of like I would actually even do. You can correct me, but like not an accountant. The people that do like stocks.
Yeah, just like a trader or like a maybe a financial analyst or
yeah.
I
want someone that can be perceived as like a type A personality, but probably are only type A in their job and very type B in their real life.
Oh, so you want like a part-time type A? So he's like a chameleon.
Well,
Wait,
because
you're a type A then.
I'm a type A.
Oh, okay.
So I want a type A personality because I think that's it might work well. I don't know, right?
Yeah.
I can only speak for myself, but
yeah.
that's what I like. That's what I think. I think of these like professions that can you would want someone who's type A to be in them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe obviously you want a type A, you want a leader in the household, or actually you don't, but
no, because I'm the type A.
Yeah, but you said psychologist.
Yeah.
So someone in your field, how would you feel about that?
So this is a person that is in my field.
Yeah.
However, like the psychologists that I work with are not actually doing like therapeutic work.
Mm-hmm.
They are there for mood management. They are there for medication management, but they're not actually doing like the therapeutic piece that I am, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I would think it's like, so if I also married an engineer.
I'm sorry, did I say psychologist?
Yeah, you said.
I'm sorry, I meant to say psychiatrist.
Oh, psychiatrist.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
That,
Tomato.
Like now
Just
it makes no. Psychologists do. I mean, they are doing like therapeutic and counseling work to like they do that as well.
Okay.
But a psychiatrist is the only one that like prescribes medication.
Gotcha,
so like
gotcha.
I'm thinking more a psychiatrist, not a psychologist.
Okay.
I misspoke.
Okay, so if I want some meds, who should I call?
A psychiatrist.
Okay. So we learned something today.
Yes.
The differences between the two.
Yes.
So be either one of those or be a pilot.
Or a pilot.
Yeah. So career is a big thing, I think, especially for people. It depends on your age too. Maybe if in your 20s, you're not really looking at the person's career, but if you're in your 30s and 40s, you definitely want someone who's going to be a provider, maybe, or at least stable.
Well, being the type A person that I was in my 20s and knowing, because I always kind of knew what I wanted to do, I was always hoping to meet someone that also knew what they were going to do. Because if the expectation was that I'm going to have my stuff together and I'm going to go to grad school no matter what, like, I hope that someone also had similar goals.
Yeah.
However, I think that, like, in our 20s and in our teens, like,
Yeah.
that's not happening with males.
Yeah. What we want is never what we usually get.
No.
Especially when it comes to relationships. So, on the flip side, it says here in the DMR 48 impressive Tinder stats, it says most common occupation for right-swiped female Tinder users, physical therapist.
I feel like that just plays into the whole, like, fantasy.
Oh, wait a second. Yeah, I get you.
Like the sexual fantasies of, like, ooh, she's a physical therapist. Like, you know, like, either she's going to be really flexible or she's going to, like, put me in certain positions or whatever it is.
I think men are just dumb and we don't know what a physical therapist is, a real physical therapist.
Right.
Yeah, and so, you know, I don't look at the career, honestly.
I don't either. I'm very, if I'm swiping, I'm very looks oriented because for me, like, that's what the app is for.
Yeah. Tinder is definitely not, there's no, you know, the profile I think is limited to like 300 or 400 characters or words or something. So you can't really put anything down comparable to OkCupid, where OkCupid you can put as much as you want. But yeah, physical therapist is not even number one on my list. I don't even know what would, I think, well, because I'm an entrepreneur.
Yeah, what's on your list?
For me, it'd be entrepreneur for sure, because I'm this. That's my brain, and it'd be nice to bounce off ideas with somebody else. So that would be number one, and then maybe doctor. But then I think about, well, is she going to be working all the time? You know, how's her schedule going to be? So it might be there might not be enough time, you know, for me and her.
Yeah.
So
I think it's also, like, dependent on where you are in your career, because I know doctors that, you know, like, they have time for their family and they make sure that their hours are, you know, like, the very limited 8 to 5, and, you know, they rotate on call or whatever it is because they want to make sure that they're creating memories with their families instead of just being work all the time.
Yeah. And I think we've talked about this in the past in our just hanging out, but love languages, right? That's important. So you know,
I use that with my family.
Oh, you do?
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's a really good book. If you guys don't know about it, it's called the 5 Love Languages by Chapman is the last name, right?
Yes, Gary Chapman.
Yeah, it's a really cool book, and there's a test online you can take, and there's like one for singles and one for relationships, right?
And then there's one for parents, and then they have the flip side for, like, it's just, like, you can say, like, I'm choosing this for my child, and it's, you know, for your child to share, to take, so that they know what you want or what they need for you as a parent. Yeah,
and I think for everyone who doesn't know about this book, it tells you how you like to be loved, right? There's 5 different languages. I think it's physical touch, it's quality time, it's acts of service, it's gifts, and it's words of affirmation.
Yes.
Yeah, and so it just, I feel like if you take a test like that, it helps someone understand yourself, you, and then you can also understand your partner on the flip side, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so how does it work with your clients or your patients?
So a lot of times, like, in my family work, I have parents or kids that are arguing because I don't feel validated by mom and dad when I do things, or, you know, mom's like, I don't feel validated by my child, you know, whatever it is. And a lot of times I, like, acts of service was a very common one for my moms.
Not your mom, but
no, for, like, the moms that I worked with. Acts of service was really common, and of course, for the kids, the way that they showed love was like words of affirmation. And so there's, like, that disconnect and like mom and kid, and you're going to show love the way that you want love shown to you. So I have mom who is showing her love through acts of service, but the kid wants words of affirmation. And so the kid's like, I don't feel loved. And mom's like, how do you not feel loved? Like, I cook and clean for you. Like, I pick up your laundry. And so kind of bridging that gap for them. It was really neat. And it definitely takes you out of your comfort zone if you are an acts of service person and now you're being told that your child wants you to praise them. It's like, because you don't know how to praise, or you don't know exactly how your child wants you to praise them. So it's just about like teaching them what they need. And so in those moments, I just have, the child or the parent teach the other person, like, okay, so this is actually what I want. So the mom would be like, hey, you have chores. However, like, I would really find it helpful if on occasion you just chose to randomly like sweep or mop for me, whatever it is, run the Roomba, I don't care.
Acts of service. For sure. So that can definitely translate into your dating life too.
Oh yeah.
I think if you kind of get that out of the way, or at least know what your partner, what their love language is, I feel like it's much easier to have a more successful relationship. Definitely.
Yes. However, mine is I like physical touch. So I just like my hair being like petted.
So everyone, it's not just sex.
It's not.
No, it's just grazing somebody's arm or some random.
Right. Physical touch can be very different. Like, can mean very different things to people. My mom cracks up because when she found out that this was my love language, she's like, "But you get mad when when I would scratch your back or try to give you a massage." And I'm like, "Mom, because you would like not stop after a while, and then it's like, okay, I'm done. Like." You've loved me enough. Please stop. So it's funny to see, because after a certain point, you're kind of like, okay, you love me enough. My love tank is full. Thank you.
So like on a first date, like, do you expect the hand holding? No.
I don't, because again, like, people don't know. And I think that, I'm always kind of paranoid because I don't know what the other person, how they see physical touch. I don't know how they understand what physical touch is. And so, for me, like, because that's like one of my biggest love languages, or strongest love language, I always feel like I have to educate, not like in a weird way, but I just have to kind of let the other person know, like, oh, I really do like it whenever you just like put your hand on my shoulder, or I really do like it when like you try and hold my hand, and just kind of going through that motion with them and teaching them in that way. I'm not like sitting them down like, okay, so for me to feel loved, I need you to do this, this, and this.
So I ask, like,
you do?
Like the first, second, or third, sometimes even before that, but I'm just curious, and it's always a good source of conversation too. Because if they know about it, they're like, oh, you know about that? And that's kind of points,
Yeah.
But if they don't, then you can kind of tell them, hey, take this test. And usually they're open to it.
So do you make them, like, do you let the girls take the test, like, while they're on the date?
No.
Okay.
No. I mean, that sounds like a good idea, just to kind of weed people out. But no, I mean, I just ask. And then usually they're cool with it, but sometimes they just kind of brush it off and we never talk about it again. So
yeah.
And I think that's kind of an indicator for me, because I like people who kind of work on themselves. And I think if you take tests like that, I think that's sort of it's a sign that you want to better yourself in some way, right? I
like that point of view. I've never thought about it that way. I see it more of let's kind of embark on this part of our relationship or like journey together, and like using this as a tool to be able to get to that level. Yeah. Gotcha.
Okay. Well, I think our time's up, and we've actually we learned a few things. We learned about Facebook, or not Facebook, the feed feature that's similar to Facebook. And guys, if you want to pick up a lot of matches, then be a pilot. So, Emma, is there anything you want to plug, or No, nothing.
I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, if you want to follow me, I have some motivational quotes and some business quotes on my Instagram. It's at Zorric Sia, or my Tinder is at Zorric Sia as well. So, all right. Well, thanks a lot for listening. We'll see you guys next time.